It's 9 p.m. on the East Coast of America, and live from the WACA studios, this is Good Night. In the news this week, a galactic merger has shaken the film industry. Fox and Disney finally came to an agreement that the agreement contains 9 zeros, 10 if you round down. That's right, the merger clocked in at $71 billion and has continued Disney's quest for world domination, or at least media domination. Now, people are excited for this merger because two things: X-Men and Fantastic Four. The two properties have been owned by Fox, resulting in no crossover between Disney's Marvel Cinematic Universe and the long-standing X-Men universe, which has recently yielded success in Logan and the Deadpool series. They've all been under one roof, which means we can be seeing Wolverine fighting Iron Man in the near future. Now, that's pretty cool, all things considered. But there's a lot that raises eyebrows about the merger besides the inevitable crossovers. There are expected to be thousands of layoffs as the merger commences, and with Disney controlling Fox distribution rights, it can tighten its already demanding grip on theaters that screen their films. Disney is quickly becoming an equal threat in the TV media game as well. The merger comes with controlling stake in the streaming platform Hulu, as well as ownership of FX and National Geographic. Disney has been and continues to become a media behemoth. Some critics have even proposed antitrust measures. So while it may be cool to see the Avengers and X-Men side by side, there's more to this merger than just cool crossovers. Now, in ridiculous news, a low-speed chase ended in a strange manner in California yesterday. The driver was asked to pull over for police for reckless driving and refused to do so. He continued to drive under 60 miles an hour for the entire chase, and according to the ABC article, did not make attempts to evade police, but decided he didn't want to pull over. When he was finally stopped by police, he got out of the car and began to break dance. The video was captured by an aerial helicopter and shows that the man eventually taken into custody actually had some pretty sweet moves. Honestly, if I was a police officer, I'd let him keep doing to see what else he could dish out. Maybe even give him a boombox to finish off his routine. It was not released as to what the deal with this guy was, but if I were to make a guess, I would assume that ketamine was involved. In other ketamine news, scientists have given alligators and crocodiles tons of ketamine in order to sedate them while conducting an experiment. Similar to our story about cheese, the researchers put earbuds on the crocodilians in an attempt to distinguish how they interpret noise and use it to hunt. The reason for this is to determine how the dinosaurs would have hunted, while crocodilians being the closest relative to the now extinct species. It is not known what the scientists played for the participants, but if I were going with the ketamine theme, it was probably trance music. Now, I'll be honest, the headline really emphasizes the fact that the reptiles were given ketamine, but they were actually just sedated with it so they didn't bite the hands off the researchers. Ketamine being a sedative by nature and used in hospitals around the country, but also known as Special K and a first choice for ravers. Now, the wording of the article is an issue, because upon reading the headline, we made a Photoshop of a crocodile at a rave almost immediately, and we didn't want to be disingenuous towards the very important research that took place. All right, who are we kidding? Here's a photo of the crocodile at a rave. Tonight in pop culture news, famous pop star singer Ariana Grande kicked off her September Sweetener World Tour this week, but that's drawing some eyes because of her efforts to get young people politically active. Grande has joined forces with Headcount, a volunteer organization that commonly works with musical artists to set up voting registration booths at their concerts. The reception has been positive, with Headcount generating a hashtag #ThankYouNextGen that empowers younger voters to get involved. Booths have been set up at the tour dates across the country and on the first leg of Grande's tour. This is great news for both younger voters and the musical artist. Boston-based death metal band All Pigs Must Die is next on the list, setting up booths at the shows and taking off with the hashtag #VoteOrDie. Unfortunately, it is not playing as well as Ariana's. And in most excellent news, Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter have announced that Bill and Ted 3 is finally happening. The third film in the popular 90s franchise entitled Bill and Ted Face the Music is beginning production this summer, after a long time, almost 30 years, on the back burner. With an unfortunate lack of George Carlin this time around, the two announced on Twitter video that a fan reaction has been a major factor in getting the film to production. The film will follow the two as they deal with middle-aged life, still trying to fulfill their rock and roll dreams as the Wild Stallions. The news comes as the most excellent surprise to fans of the film. The seminal Woodstock Festival is celebrating its 50th year in August, and the lineup has some comparing the festival more to Coachella than the famous 3 days of peace and love from 50 years ago. Headlining the festival are artists like Miley Cyrus, Jay-Z, Imagine Dragons, and Halsey. The festival is also showcasing some bands that played at the original festival, such as Santana and Dead & Company. However, the over-resilience on pop acts, and arguably not even mainstream pop acts, is drawing heat. Now, personally, I have nothing against the artists in the lineup, but I have to agree that some of it is a little puzzling for, well, Woodstock. Pop rapper Akon is in the lineup, and nothing against my guy Akon, but he hasn't had a hit in over 10 years. All this said, the organizers did make an effort to get some groups that carry a similar message to the original Woodstock. Socialist-conscious rap group Run the Jewels, forward-thinking pop singer Janelle Monáe, and Russian protest punk rock band Pussy Riot round out the lineup among many others. Previously mentioned death metal group All Pigs Must Die was unfortunately not in the lineup. Today is National Puppy Day, but it's past the puppy's bedtime, so before we speak with the humans at the Baypath Humane Society, Sheriff Thomas Hodgson will be joining us when we return here on Good Night.
Oh, honey, you look so beautiful. Thanks, Mom. I'm so nervous. Oh, sweetie, don't be nervous. You got this. Let me go get you a bouquet.
You look amazing.
Thanks, Dad.
I can't believe you're wearing that old necklace.
You know the rule. Something old, something new.
Shall we?
There are days when you know your life will change. You can look back and see the small moments that make such a difference. Even a single moment can lead to big changes.
I saw it, and I just thought of you.
Thanks, Dad. I love it.
I gotta go to work.
No!
I gotta go, sweetheart. The crew needs all of us to be there so we can all stay safe.
You promise to stay safe out there today, Dad?
What do we say every day?
Every day before work starts,
we talk about staying safe and smart. We wear our safety pants and vests so everyone can see us best. We put out barrels, cones, and signs so drivers stay inside their lines. We work together, no one's alone. That way we make it safely home.
Just an average day. A small moment. But it changed my life.
They say a new habit takes root when you've done something 60 days in a row, which is perfect for us considering it's our 60th anniversary. We've decided, since kids need 60 minutes of activity each day, and finding healthy recipes should only take 60 seconds, we're taking people on a journey from 0 to 60. The fastest way to healthy living starts now.
I've been a sheriff for 21 years, and I've been dealing with Congress for 21 years on this issue of immigration. A lot of people have listened over 21 years, but Mr. President, you are the first person who's taken action. And you have given us back our footing in law enforcement, but you've also given the American people back what they deserve, which is to be protected. And signing this today, I can't tell you how much it means to all of us in law enforcement. But importantly, Mr. President, when I hear people say, this is all manufactured, it's all this and that, no, it's not. In my county alone, one city, we have, on average, on second shift in our hospital in Bedford, Massachusetts, 15 to 20 overdoses on second shift every day. And this is going on, that's one example that's happening all over the country. But Mr. President, you have stood up and you've taken the action. And the American people are behind you, we're behind you, and thank you and God bless you for what you're doing.
Sheriff. Thank you.
Welcome back to Good Night. As you just saw, Sheriff Hodgson from Bristol County recently met with the President of the United States of America in the Oval Office. And joining us from McAllen, Texas, is Sheriff Hodgson. Good evening, Sheriff. Thanks for joining us here on Good Night.
Thanks for having me, John.
Hey, it's an honor to have you here. It's got to be an exciting time to be in the Oval Office watching President Trump do his first veto. Let's talk a little bit about it.
Well, John, honestly, it was exciting, and I'll tell you why it was exciting. I've been working on immigration reform for almost 20 years now, and I've been the sheriff in Bristol County for 21. And I've been working on this issue for so long and watched Congress every year use it as its political football and turning it into a sort of situation where they have put their politics over the needs of the American people. And the sheriffs across this nation for 20 years, along with Border Patrol and ICE, have been saying, look, here's what we need. Our communities are deteriorating because of more and more people coming in that are illegal, and the laws are of our country being ignored. And it's impacting the citizens that we promised to protect. And so finally, for 20 years, we've had members of Congress testify before the Judiciary Committee, have testified, others have before Congress, and it was nothing more than a dog and pony show until President Trump stepped in. And this is the man who listened to the experts, he listened to the sheriffs, and he's taken action. And therein lies the difference. And so for us to be in the Oval Office, to witness, finally, once and for all, someone in leadership saying, you know what, I've listened to the issues, I understand the issues, I've committed to doing something about it, and now I'm doing something, is really, it's something that all of us in law enforcement are so happy about, because everything short of that has undermined our ability to keep our promise to the people.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up. And recently I've had the opportunity to interview U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren and Congressman Jim McGovern. I've had an opportunity to interview both of them in the last month or so. And both of them want to abolish ICE. My words, as the host of Good Night, I think that's the most ludicrous thing in the world, that you want to abolish an organization that's going to keep the American people safe. Any comments?
Well, sure. What elected official in this nation, particularly following 9/11, would ever think or suggest that we should make the citizens of our country less safe, when we know, collaborating with our federal partners and them understanding, first of all, what we know in our communities that they couldn't possibly know, they don't work in there every day, would be beneficial for them to identify people who've come to the country illegally, whether they're terrorists, whether they're criminals, or just somebody that just said, hey, I'm going to thumb my nose at the American people and the law that exists. I don't like the fact that I don't qualify for asylum, so I'm just going to come in anyway, and I don't care about your laws. Look, when you have members of Congress who are saying that they want citizens of our community to be less safe than they know that they otherwise could be by having this collaboration, they need to think about taking on another job. They don't belong in Congress. They've undermined their oath. And frankly, I'm disgusted with both of them for having said that, in that they know what's going on. They know, and they've been in there for some, well, not as much Elizabeth Warren as McGovern, but they've been in there. And they know the number of families who have lost loved ones at the hands of criminally illegal aliens. I don't know if either one of them gone to the processing centers in the county, but let me tell you, if they did and they walked out of there and said the same thing, then they'd have to be blind and deaf as to what's going on. And it's really shameful. They put their politics above the safety and security of the American people. And frankly, the illegals who have come across because they've been encouraged by this sort of, we'll look the other way, we feel bad for you, and that's encouraged them to come here and know that if I just turn myself in, yeah, they'll give you a trial date, but the closest trial date is about 9 years out, and by that time I'll be integrated into America. They'll never find me.
Well, you've got to be scared to death that Elizabeth Warren is running for president of the United States and has her stance on ICE. So, I mean, what does the law enforcement communities talk about that?
Well, first of all, I was scared to death that she was running for the Senate, to be honest with you, because I've come to know Elizabeth Warren pretty well, and frankly, her idea that get rid of ICE is like saying get rid of the FBI. I mean, that tells me that she's so out of touch with the importance of ICE and Border Patrol and what they do in our communities to help work with local law enforcement to make sure that in concert with us, we're able to identify people who've snuck in this country illegally. John, let me tell you, just to give you a sense, in 2019, the percentage increase of people coming across the border here, okay, in people who are from Bangladesh, right? The increase in 2019 is up 467% of people coming in from Bangladesh. Pakistan, 300%. Albania, 140%. China, 82%. Turkey, 43%. And India, 50%. We have 44 nationalities that we're identifying coming across this border. And let me tell you, they caught a guy who was a terrorist not too terribly long ago. And when you hear somebody like Elizabeth Warren completely ignore these facts and say everything's fine, get rid of ICE, what? So we can be less secure, so that local law enforcement doesn't have another tool that they need in the toolbox, as the federal partners do with working with us. I mean, these are people who are more focused. I think the American people get it now. These people in Congress are focused on what matters to them first. They push everything through the political filter, capture whatever they can on the front side of that filter for themselves, for their political, personal, partisan, political needs. And whatever is left over on the other side of that filter that comes out is what the American people get, and that's generally not much of anything. And that's really what's going on in America today. Congress is so broken. I often describe them as, having hijacked the legislative branch of our federal government and turned it into a political playground. And I think most of your listeners probably remember when these supposed adults who are supposed to be the leaders of our nation were sitting on the floor like petulant little children in Congress protesting, like a sitting. Why would we ever think that our children would ever understand how to sensibly and respectfully differ on opinions and come to some, sort of common, respectable discourse that they could eventually, learn how to solve problems. We don't encourage that even at the levels of Congress. And so when I see all this nonsense going on, it's clear to me they're not paying attention to the detail of the seriousness of this problem. they're more interested in just glossing it over and ignoring it and pushing forward their political agenda. That's all it's about.
Well, let me bring up another negative subject, unfortunately, and that's the opiate crisis. You know, I'm a longtime, as you know, a longtime elected public official, and currently the chairman of my local Board of Health. And the opiate crisis is the biggest single health crisis in the history of probably our lifetime. And, you know, thank God for Narcan. Narcan has slowed the deaths, but it hasn't slowed the problem. You as a sheriff, you've got to be at wit's end with the opiate crisis.
Well, of course, and you know we're all working hard to deal with this. I mean, the families that are going through this. I mean, we had a mother that came out not too long ago and said, "You know what? I want my son. I told my son, come to my house and shoot up in front of me because you're all I have, and I don't want to lose you." That is a sad state of affairs. We had a double in our county. We had a double overdose call for the EMTs. They responded. They got to the residence. The mother was on the floor, foaming at the mouth. The father as well, both overdosing. The 3-year-old child was crying and trying to wake up her mother, and the 5-year-old brother was trying to get the father to come to as well. So that's the scene that the EMTs saw when they came. And you know what's sad about this? It's going on not only in my county, it's going on in counties all over this country. And for Congress, knowing that this is ongoing, and actually, John, I don't know if you know this, but in Massachusetts, we are the 7th highest overdose rate for heroin in the entire United States. We are the 2nd most common place that you will find fentanyl, which is very deadly. And Congress, and they're doing nothing about it. They're making up excuses. I've seen it for 20 years. They've turned a blind eye and deaf ear to this for 20 years. And so, to me, we need people in Congress that are going to pay attention to the people's issues, not to the politics, so that we get this stuff done and support law enforcement instead of undermining us in our efforts to keep our promise to the people. We can keep them safe. And it's just like, just add one more thing, John. You know, I was down at the Capitol. I was down in Washington recently, and I was with the Angel Moms and Dads, and there were a lot of them there who lost their children. And they asked me to speak. And when I went up to speak, I said, you know, I'm very sad to be standing here at this press conference. I'm sad because I'm amongst all these families who will never have baptism with or whatever with their grandchild. They'll never see their son or daughter be married. They'll never experience. They'll never have another Christmas with them because people couldn't protect them. We promised to protect them, and it wasn't that we didn't want to. It was because Congress undermined our ability to do it, and that makes me very sad that they're going through the pain and that we failed in our ability to do what we promised that we would have otherwise done. And so
go ahead.
Is where we are.
So how do we change it, Sheriff?
Well, it's real simple. The American people have to change it. You have to get people. You have to hold your members of Congress accountable and tell them we're done. We're done with you ignoring the fact that law enforcement, the sheriffs across this nation, and our partners have all been telling you for years our communities were deteriorating. There were more drugs pouring in. Sex trafficking and human trafficking were out of control. That this idea of just letting people come into this country, if Congress doesn't like the law that they passed, then they need to change it. But in the meantime, the laws are on the books to control the number of people coming into this country. Do you know that we're going to have? We're the most generous country in the world, John. But what we do is we allow about 1 million to come in legally every year. But now, based on what's going on with Congress's inability to deal with this crisis, we're going to be tracking about 900,000 this year that are going to be coming in illegally, and those are the ones that we know of. So you're talking another 1 million people, and the question right now they're tracking about 1,000 people in the Rio Grande Valley sector. There are about 1,000 people coming through here a day. Now, think about this for a minute. So, in the Rio Grande Valley, they're tracking for about 300,000 people illegally crossing this border. These are the ones they're going to catch, not the ones that are getting through without being caught. So they're estimating about 300,000. Now, 300,000, that would be, we have less than 100,000 in my major cities in my county, right? Just under 100,000. Can you tell me in 1 year where we have, just in Bristol, forget the rest of the country, but just in Bristol County, where do we have 3 New Bedfords that are sitting vacant with houses, complete neighborhoods, fire departments, hospitals, police, and all these other services that people will need, just sitting waiting for people to move in? We don't.
We don't, yeah.
We don't have three cities just sitting idle waiting for people to come here. So where are they going? That's the point. That's what people have to understand. This can't go on. And we've been saying it all along. Congress has ignored it. Now we have a president in Donald Trump who has, from day one, said we're going to enforce the laws of this nation and we are going to stop this illegal immigration and the intimidation and things that are going on in the communities, the victimization that's happened for years as a result of Congress not doing their job.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left here on Good Night, but I did want to get your comments. Did you see that our Attorney General, Maura Healey, was down in Tijuana yesterday? Did you see that?
I did, and I actually made a comment on Facebook about it. You know, look, this is the Attorney General who's supposed to be upholding the laws of Massachusetts and supporting the people that elected her. And frankly, to be down here criticizing the president and saying, and you know, all these the poor people coming across and supporting lawbreakers who are violating the laws of the United States says everything that I've been saying for this last 20 minutes, which is these are elected officials who are more interested in their politics than they are in doing the right thing for people and protecting the citizens that they promised to protect when they accepted their oath of office.
Well, Sheriff, it's an honor to have you here on Good Night. We can't thank you enough for all the hard work that you're doing, especially keeping Bristol County and all the residents of Massachusetts safe. It was an honor to have you on the program, and we wish you the best of luck, sir.
Well, John, I was honored to be on your program. You're doing great work, and talk radio is going to be the way we're going to turn this country, and thank you for all that you're doing.
All right, sir. Come back safe from Texas, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, I will. God bless. God bless America.
God bless America. That's Sheriff Hodgkins right here on Good Night. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to the dogs. We're going to be talking with the Baypath Humane Society about their adoption program right here on Good Night.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack Hanna. Since I was a boy growing up on a farm in Tennessee, I've been fascinated with animals. I'm not only in awe of their beauty and kindness, but also their tireless work ethic. Just look at the birds who gather supplies to build nests, or Swiss foxes who work hard to provide for their young, or penguins who travel up to 500 miles to secure food for their families, or bush babies whose impressive jump allows them to navigate the trees in the wild in search of fruit. This remarkable work ethic is shared by our best friends, the canines. We know dogs are wonderful pets at home, but because of their acute senses, they also perform life-saving work every day. Dogs keep us safe at airports. They comfort returning veterans, some of whom suffer from PTS. They work with diabetics, alerting them when there's a change in their blood chemistry. Working dogs have a variety of highly trained roles that contribute to society and help those in need. So please join me and American Humane in supporting our heroic working dogs and all the amazing animals on this planet we inhabit together. Go to AmericanHumane.org to learn more.
They say a new habit takes root when you've done something 60 days in a row, which is perfect for us considering it's our 60th anniversary. We've decided, since kids need 60 minutes of activity each day, and finding healthy recipes should only take 60 seconds, we're taking people on a journey from 0 to 60. The fastest way to healthy living starts now.
Problems. The ones most people don't have the stomach for. The ones nobody talks about at cocktail parties. We go looking for them. In unforgiving cities, desolate towns, and seemingly docile suburbs. No matter the obstacles, no matter the odds, we surround a community's most critical problems, and we fight. United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community, because change doesn't happen alone. Hope isn't a one-man band, and there's no such thing as self-taught or self-made. We have one life. To live better, we must live united.
Mother Teresa once said, if you want to change the world, go home and love your family. Because changing the world starts with changing yourself and working outward from there. We're in Rotary because we want to take action in our communities and around the world. But to change the world, we have to start at home by making the changes we need in our organization to ensure that we will remain both relevant and vibrant for many years to come. To serve our communities well, we need to represent our communities in terms of age, gender, ethnicity, and background. We need to start reaching out to people who might not know about Rotary or might not understand what Rotary membership entails. To do that effectively, we need to work on strengthening our public image through our presence on social media and by holding Rotary Days, free, outward-facing community events that showcase who we are and what we do. Let's show the world how we are people of action. We also need to start working much harder to bring Rotaract, closer to Rotary. Today we have 250,000 Rotaractors in about 10,000 clubs. 27% of Rotary clubs have sponsored a Rotaract club. I want to see those numbers double with new Rotaract clubs that are community-based. And I want the natural path out of Rotaract to lead into a Rotary club bringing in the diversity, the energy, and the new ideas that Rotary needs. Work together. Have service projects together. Sponsor a new club if you haven't done it yet. Treat Rotaractors as younger colleagues, not as interns. And show them everything that Rotary has to offer. The opportunities that have shaped each of us in Rotary and helped all of us to be the inspiration.
Welcome back to Good Night. Tomorrow's a pretty special day. It's National Puppy Day tomorrow, and we all love dogs, so it's an honor to have Kelly Lockwood from the Baypath Humane Society join us here on the phone. She's going to talk a little bit about the Furball event coming up on March 30th. Kelly, what an honor to have you here on Good Night. Thank you for taking a couple minutes.
Thank you, John, so much for having us. I appreciate it.
Well, let me tell you something special. My best friend, other than my wife, of course, in the world, is a dog named Anakin, who I adopted from Baypath. And we rescued him, or he rescued us, I'll say, about a year and a half ago, and has brought a lot of joy to our life. So I've got a special place in my heart for Baypath. So let's talk a little bit about it.
Love that. What an awesome thing to say. I actually have a dog from Baypath as well that I got about a year and a half ago at 11 weeks old. So her name is Dimple, and she's absolutely adorable, all 37 pounds of her. So totally understand what it's like to have a best friend who's a puppy, for sure.
Well, good for you. Let the audience know a little bit of background about Baypath and how they can learn more about it.
Okay, great. So Baypath is 41 years old.
Wow.
It was started by a group of residents in the town of Hodgson back when stray animals were a real challenge. And over the course of the last 40 years, we've been a steward to the community in helping find homes for strays. But at this point, we're really more about serving the community and helping them not only, take in companion animals, both cats and dogs, but also we provide educational programs to help people understand their animals better. And we also provide some medical assistance and bring a lot of our dogs and cats come to us from outside of Massachusetts because our spay work has really helped reduce the stray animal population in Mass. So we've been working with a lot of other shelters that may not be no-kill in other areas to help bring animals up here to people who are looking to find homes for them. So,
well, I think that's great because, like I said, our dog Anakin, he came from a kill shelter in South Carolina, and we got him from here.
Right, and my little one came from Louisiana. So, absolutely, we've done a tremendous job partnering with shelters in other states that have a population problem that we don't necessarily have up here anymore. So we get a lot of animals from West Virginia, from Louisiana, from other southern states. We also bring them in from Jamaica and some of the islands. The amazing thing about Baypath that I have to say, if you've ever been by the shelter, you know how tiny it is.
Mm-hmm.
We have, over the course of the last several years, been able to rehome over 1,000 animals a year, which is absolutely amazing considering just how small we really are as an organization. So A huge shout out has to go to the families who foster animals for us, and for the volunteers who come to the shelter, walk the dogs, play with the cats, help socialize them so that they're easier to find homes for. And just have to say, what an amazing group of people in Hopkinton and in the surrounding areas who are supporting the organization.
Well, if nobody's ever been by, I strongly encourage people to go by, because the opportunity that we had, I think our dog chose us. We didn't choose him; he chose us. And
nice.
And it was because of the facility, the willingness of your staff to work with, making sure that everything was, going to be best for the dog. And I thought that it was great. So I mean, kudos to you. Why don't you give the address and some contact information of the shelter?
Okay, absolutely. So Baypath Humane Society is located on Legacy Farms North, 500 Legacy Farms North, which is a new name for the street. It's right off 85 in Hopkinton. We are online at baypathhumane.org, and the organization is open Monday through Sunday. We're only closed on Tuesdays. Every day, so that you can come and see every single animal that's available for adoption is online on our website, and you can find out more about everything that we do also on the website. So we do some educational series, events. We have some live events, which the Fur Ball, which is very close and dear to my heart. I'm one of the co-chairs, and that's coming up on March 30th. And we utilize all of our live events really to raise money for the shelter. So we have a really unbelievable staff of people who are giving so much of their time to helping find homes for these animals. And I'm hoping that your listeners are interested in coming to, or even having a little bit of fun. We've got an event on March 30th. It is our 7th annual Fur Ball. And this year's event, our theme is for 007. So we've got a James Bond theme. There will be casino tables. There will be a DJ. The event includes dinner, a complimentary cocktail. We even have red carpet photos. So all of this is taking place on the 30th at the Sheraton in Framingham, and tickets are available to purchase via our website, which is baypathhumane.org.
So we will definitely blast that out, and it's going to be a great event. And if I'm not mistaken, it's hosted by a friend of the program, Doug Meehan, right, from Channel 5, right?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. So WCVB TV, Channel 5, Doug Meehan. This is his second year of being our Master of Ceremonies. He is a huge animal lover, and I have to give a call out to Tuckett, his golden retriever, who's about 9 years old, I think, now.
Yep.
And he is a big fan of Baypath and has generously donated his time to come and be our MC. So we've got some really, really great items that we have for silent auction. We're going to do a live auction that includes things like a signed football helmet from the Patriots.
Nice.
And a few other things from Red Sox Nation. We've got some really, really awesome supporters in the Bruins, and we're really excited about this year's event. So got to give a big call out to Doug for giving his time to us. And we're kind of excited for the event. We've got about 400 people coming. We've got room for about 25 to 50 more. So if anybody that's listening in is looking for something fun to do March 30th, come on down to the Sheraton. Go to baypathhumane.org and purchase your tickets to come on in. And I look forward to seeing all of you there.
Well, Kelly Lockwood from the Baypath Humane Society, it's been an honor to have you on. Go on March 30th to the Fur Ball. Doug Meehan's going to be hosting it. He's going to do a great job. And sounds like a wonderful organization. And once again, on behalf of my family, the Featherston family, we want to thank you for bringing Anakin into our lives and making a big difference in our lives.
Nice.
So, It's been a great story, and we're happy to help you out, and we hope that we can have some dogs in the studio and dogs and cats in the studio going forward.
Hey, we would love to do that. And by the way, I know that tomorrow's National Puppy Day. There's about 4 or 5 puppies at the shelter right now, under the age of 6 months, who are all looking for homes. So if there's anyone listening in who's looking for a puppy, come see baypathhumane.org and take a look. They're all listed on there, and there's some gorgeous, gorgeous puppies that are available for adoption. So would love to have everybody come on by. And John, thank you so much for having me.
Kelly, you know how much stress you just added to my life right now? So when I go home tonight.
Why, is anyone in your family looking for a new puppy?
There's always room in our house for another dog. So yes, yes.
Well, and I can't thank you enough for adopting from us in the first place. But like I said, there's always something new happening at the shelter, and we can't forget about the kitties and the cats. So we'll tell you in about a month. We're going to have lots of kittens available as well, given that it's the season. And hope all of your viewers and listeners are looking forward to adopting some furry new friend into the family.
All right. Well, Kelly, thank you. Thanks for taking a couple minutes. Good luck on March 30th with the fur ball. And we'll talk again. We'll talk again real soon.
Okay, thanks, John, so much. Appreciate it.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, that's going to wrap another edition of Good Night. We'd like to thank Sheriff Thomas Hodgson of Bristol County for talking to us tonight, and Kelly Lockwood from the Baypath Humane Society. Check out their fur ball event on March 30th. You can learn more at baypathhumane.org. That's baypathhumane.org. Thanks for everybody joining us here tonight on Good Night. And we'll see you again on Monday. Good night, everybody.